Okay, so we are going to start talking all about division over the next couple of weeks. And so before Christmas, we did multiplication. Now we're going to talk division. So multiplication and division, they're like cousins. We call them, the mathematical term is they're inverse operations. What that means is think about addition and subtraction. You can always check your work with addition by using subtraction. If you say 3 plus 4 is 7, well, you can check that by doing 7 minus 4 is 3. So they're inverse of each other. Multiplication and division are the same way. So before we get into any big division, we're going to really think through fact families and how multiplication and division work together. And we're going to talk about arrays. So you might have seen arrays, and that word array is A-R-R-A-Y, arrays. You may have seen arrays in 3rd grade. You may not have, depending on where you were at before March when everything shut down. But they are visual ways that we can represent multiplication and division, so it's really easy for us to see and understand. So before we look at arrays, we're going to talk about these inverse operations, and we're going to look at a fact family. So we know that 9 times 5 equals 45. We could flip that around and say 5 times 9 equals 45. So we know that that's true. Well, we can check that. We can do the inverse with division. 45 divided by 5 equals 9. And 45 divided by 9 equals 5. So they work together as fact families to give us possible problems. So then when we look at arrays, we're going to do division with arrays. That's what your lesson's going to be asking for. And it's going to want you to find 2 different ways that you can represent division based on an array. So if you look up here, you notice that when we divide, we always start with our bigger number. Because division is if I have 45 pieces of bubble gum and I want to divide it equally, I'm going to share it equally with 5 friends, so 5 people are going to get it. How many pieces is each person going to get? So 45 pieces of gum divided equally into 5 groups, each group would have 9. Or if I have 45 marbles and I want to divide them into 9 bags, how many is each bag going to have? It's going to have 5. So we're always going to start with our larger number because that's the total number that we have to divide into groups. So if we look at this array, how many total dots are in this array? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know it's going to be 8 divided by something. Well, if you look at this array, I have 2 rows or I have 4 columns. So let's look at rows first. I have 8 dots and I divide them into 2 rows. So how many are in each row? 1, 2, 3, 4. 8 divided by 2 equals 4. But I could also divide them into columns. So I know my total is 8. And I can divide it into 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. And how many are in each column? 1, 2. Well, look, I've got the same numbers, just in different places. 8 divided by 2 equals 4, or 8 divided by 4 equals 2. Look at this next one. This next one I did to try and trick you, because there are a couple in your lesson that are going to try and trick you. So first of all, I need to count how many total I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 divided by, well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 columns, but I've only got 1 row. So if I did 5 divided by 1, because there's 1 row, how many are in each row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 divided by 1 is 5. If I have $5 and I put them all in one group, that one group has $5. But I can also look at it and do 5 divided by, I have 5 columns. Well, how many is in each column? If this is a column, there's just 1. Think of it as you have $5 and you put it in 5 different places, each place only gets $1. Turn this so you can see it better. You might also be asked, you might be told this multiplication problem, 6 times 7 equals 42. What are 2 division problems that you can create based on 6 times 7 equals 42? Well, we know for division, we always start with our biggest number. So it's going to be 42 divided by, well, I can do 42 divided by 6. So what's my missing number? 42 divided by 6 is 7. But I could also do 42 divided by 7, and that would equal 6. So for the first lesson, you're really just thinking about how they are inverse operations. In our fact families, how if we have 9, 5, and 45, and they go together to make a fact family, then you can come up with 45 divided by 5 equals 9, or 45 divided by 9 equals 5. For division, remember, you always start with your largest number and divide it into smaller groups.